Miscellaneous minds, never explaining the minds. Devilish grin for my alias, aliens who respond. Peddling sin, thinking maybe when you get old you realize I'm not gonna fold or demise. I don't smoke crack, motherfucker, I sell it.
What is going on, everybody? This is the Miscellaneous Minds podcast. I'm your co-host, Puma El Gato, the cat that gives you your 25-year-old lady back. And to my right over here is the main man, Jesus, and the man that makes the fat stacks. Together we form the dynamic duo that won't die, deadlier than the Diaz brothers and spicier than your girl's OnlyFans. Brother, lead us into this topic of conversation.
So there's something that I saw over the weekend that was kind of trending a little bit that I wanted to discuss specifically. It was the Leonardo DiCaprio scenario. We'll get into a little bit of the details. Why I think both sides of the argument are kind of suspect. I think there's a lot of hypocrisy going on, and I think there's a little bit of weirdness going on as well. With that being said, let's kind of jump right into it. So I did a little bit of research, for this topic as far as the claims that were being made against Leonardo DiCaprio. Listen, if you've seen Leonardo DiCaprio in anything, if you watched any of his movies, I'll be honest with you, I think my man he's a little immature. And don't get me wrong, like, I have nothing against a man that's 47 being a little bit immature. I fuck with a lot of his movies. I never really knew this whole thing was going on with him in particular up until, again, this recent wave of scenarios apparently that's been going on. But okay, so the issue at hand is apparently my man Leonardo DiCaprio dates women basically up until they're 25, and once they're 25, he cuts them out. Look, I'll be honest with you, I feel like there's a lot of hypocrisy coming from people on both sides of the argument. People that are saying what's the problem, and also people that are saying it's very suspect, he's a predator, he's grooming them, so on and so forth. Which what are your thoughts on this, my man?
As far as the issues of whether it's sus or not, I have a huge problem with that, because they make it seem like he's going after young women. I was like, they're over the age of 21 at that point. It's if we're gonna start going into this realm of they shouldn't be dating somebody that's 10 years their junior. I was like, all right, but they're over the age of 21. Either they have consent or they don't have consent. Which is it? Either women are all empowering or women don't have autonomy. You can't run with both. You can't run with both
arguments.
Both arguments if this is what you're trying to argue for. It doesn't make sense to me.
I do think that people that are saying it's sus are kind of diminishing the woman's responsibility in this, and I say that because look, it's not like they just turned 18. It's not like they're 19. It's not like they're 20, 21, 22. I mean, a lot of these women, again, right up until they're 25, they're all in with Mr. DiCaprio. With that being said, look, as you were saying a second ago, it seems like the people that are against him doing this type of thing are basically saying, he's taking advantage of these women. And it's like, here's the thing, they're grown-ass women. It's not like they just, turned 18. These are women that, again, they've been adults for, more than a few years now. And they have, and again, as you said, either they have the autonomy to make their own decisions or they don't. And I feel like you guys are fucking flip-flopping. Here's the problem that I have with the argument. If you're saying 25, that's too young for a 47-year-old to fucking date. I may agree with the morality of it, but I don't agree with the argument that people are making as far as, he's a predator. He's not, in my eyes, he's not a predator. These are grown women. These are women that have chosen to be with this man. I mean, I'm sure they all know his age. It's fucking, public domain information. Anybody can fucking find it. So it's, again, we're diminishing their role in the decision to be with them. And here's the thing. Apparently, there's a chart out there. A couple of the channels that I watched in reference to this video, where basically, I guess someone's keeping a chart of all the 25-year-olds or all the women that were 24 and then turned 25 and then they kicked them to the curb. Here's the problem with that. So if you know this, right? If you know that this man is famous for this as a 24-year-old, what do you say? Fuck, man, I'm about to be 25. This man's about to kick me to the curb. Wouldn't you say, fuck it, I'm out, I'm leaving. I'm not gonna let this man fucking have this, type of shit over me. Let's be honest. These women that are dating him, they want to date him. They're more than likely, more than excited to date this motherfucker. He's famous. He's good looking. He's got money. He's got all the boxes that generally women, try to look for. So I'm gonna say that again, everyone making the argument of, oh, this shouldn't be happening, you guys are severely diminishing the woman's role in this particular aspect. And again, it's not like, they're 18, 19, 20. Again, I'll be honest with you, if I was 47, I personally probably wouldn't date somebody that young, mostly because of, there's a big immaturity factor for me. I'll be honest with you, I personally can't vibe with, I'm nowhere near DiCaprio's age, but I personally can't vibe with anyone 21, 22, 23. I feel like they're just too immature. And I get that for some people that may not be a factor, but me personally, it would affect me. I feel like I wouldn't be able to have like an intellectual conversation with somebody. With that being said, listen, they're both well above the age of consent. None of the women, I believe, that I when I was looking into it, none of the women were, he wasn't in their life previous to them being an adult, and then once they became an adult and started dating. So this whole people are saying he is grooming them is a load of horseshit. In order for you to be grooming somebody, you have to be in their life before they're 18 for a substantial amount of time, and train them, groom them, so that way when they turn 18, then you can pounce on your prey, so to speak. As far as I know, he didn't actually start, he didn't meet any of these women before they were 18. So the grooming aspect, the grooming argument, that's out the window for me. And again, if you guys are going to make the argument that too young, blah, 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 where do we draw the fucking line? Is he too young to date a 35-year-old? Is he too young to date a 30-year-old? You guys are basically making the argument that we should take the ability for these women to make a decision about their own dating life, their own sex life, their own relationship life. You can't do that. If you're gonna say, oh, we're gonna take away the rights of a 24-year-old woman, I don't think too many people are gonna make that argument. And I feel like that's what they're low-key saying. Like, I feel like they're putting all of the blame on DiCaprio. And again, don't get me wrong, I think the behavior is at the very least a little sus, but I don't see anything wrong with it. With that being said, again, it's one of those things where it seems like you guys are putting all of the blame on DiCaprio and basically saying, oh, because these women are young, they have no fault. As far as I'm understanding, they're not under any hostage type of scenario. They're making the decision to be with this man, and again, knowing this information is out there.
There's the other angle I wanted to talk about well, they can't control how old they can be, and it's kind of unfair for Leonardo DiCaprio to be doing this to women that are 25. And I was like, all right, I understand that, and that is fucked up. But you also don't think it's fucked up that women decide their dating preferences on something that men also can't control, like height, or fucking when they were born. Oh, you're a Leo? Bye. Don't talk to me ever. Are you an Aquarius? Get the fuck out of here. I don't date Aquariuses. You're a water sign? Nah, I don't fuck with that. And I was like, you don't think that's a little weird? Especially with the height thing. The height thing doesn't even matter. And I say this as an unabashed 5'7" short king. Even though fucking world average height is 5'7", but whatever. Because I'm under 5'8", somehow I'm short.
I think it's funny because, again, this comes down to personal preference. Again, these women, when they're, I don't know when he started dating these women, when she's 23, 24, they're making the decision. They're knowledgeable of what's going on, and they're choosing to continue forward with this relationship. So, in my eyes, again, the whole grooming thing, that's out the fucking window. Again, these women are well into their adulthood. The whole grooming thing, again, as far as I understand, he didn't meet any of these women before they were 18, and then, groomed them until they were fucking adulthood. I feel like people are just nitpicking to nitpick. Again, would I personally, if I was 47, dated 25 or 24-year-old, probably fucking not. Just because, again, I can't see myself being 47 and having too much in common with a 25-year-old. But let's keep it 100 here. The same way that Leonardo DiCaprio is probably using these women because they're young and attractive, they're using him because he's got status. He's a man of financial means. He's a handsome guy. He's famous. He's attractive. So the same way that he's using them, they're using him. So I honestly personally don't see what the big fucking deal is. I think it's a lot of fucking, and I'm gonna throw some of my own, I guess, people under the bus here. I think it's a lot of these motherfucking liberals and shit that are fucking tripping out because, again, there's a lot of stuff out there in the world that is grooming, that is predator behavior, that is a lot of this shit. In this case, it's not this. Again, where the fuck is the cutoff? Can he date 30-year-old women? Can he date 35-year-old women? I mean, again, where do you say, okay, well, they're grown enough, to where they can make their own decisions. I mean, they're 25. Again, it's not like they just turned 18 and their, mind is not fully developed. And don't get me wrong, I don't think fucking Leonardo DiCaprio's mind is fully developed. The dude is immature as fuck. I have no problem with it. Again, it is what it is. With that being said, too many people are making a goddamn, whole thing about it. Now, on the other hand, I'll be honest with you. Again, I don't know. A 22-year difference. I don't know, man. That's too much for me personally. I couldn't, possibly do it. Again, to me, you know, I have a problem dating someone that's 21, 22, 23. And again, I'm nowhere near fucking Leonardo DiCaprio's age. So with that being said, I think there's a little bit of a argument to be made that at the very, very least, you know, his dating choices are sus. But again, it comes down to personal fucking preference. If women can say, I don't want a man that's less than 6 foot, you know, or I don't want a man that doesn't have a 6 in his fucking height. I don't want a man that's this. That's perfectly fine. You're perfectly fine to have those preferences. But again, men can have those same preferences as well. And I guess in Leonardo DiCaprio's world, if you're 25, you're a fucking old haggard ass woman. I think it's weird, but you know, it is what it is. Anything else you want to throw in on top of that, my man?
No, I think I got all I want.
Well, you motherfuckers need to stop being such fucking pussies. Again, this motherfucker, again, they're both grown adults. They're both, you know, above the fucking, you know, age of consent, well above the age of consent. I think too many people are making this too much of a thing. And again, it doesn't matter what your personal preference is, just like it doesn't matter what my personal preference is. If I personally wouldn't date somebody that young, that's just my personal preference. His personal preference, apparently, you know, 24 to 18 or whatever the fuck. I don't know what the fuck is it. But apparently once they hit 25, it's a no-go for him. So you motherfuckers need to stop bitching, stop complaining, stop looking for reasons to fucking be outraged. I don't care if this motherfucker dates 300 females that are fucking 24 and then at 25 he cuts them off. As long as they're adults that can make their own goddamn decision, they aren't being fucking coerced, they aren't being fucking, you know, this isn't like some sort of fucking hostage situation. What the fuck is the motherfucking problem? With that being said, my man, let's go ahead and wrap this one up.
Alright, until next time, get rest and stay blessed. We'll see you in the next one.